Paris in the 17th century, splendor and strain. A city on the edge, 17th century Paris trembled between glory and decay. Narrow streets reeked of mud, smoke and perfume. Markets roared while church bells warned of unrest. Carriages clattered past beggars and courtiers alike. The Seine carried both commerce and corruption. Behind shuttered windows, cardinals schemed and poets whispered rebellion. Paris was brilliant, volatile and hungry, a city poised on the edge of transformation. Welcome to Paris in the 1600s. Ile de la Cité, the ancient heart. Paris felt raw and unsettled on the Ile de la Cité. This low, marshy island lay strewn with timber yards and warehouses, its muddy banks crowded with barges unloading grain and firewood. It was all labor and river grit, the working foundation beneath the city's grandeur. Nearby, Notre Dame towered above the island like a solemn beacon. Its darkened stone caught the river light, and bells shuddered through the streets. Inside, incense drifted beneath vaulted shadows, where worshippers murmured their hopes and fears, seeking grace in a city that offered little. The Hôtel de Ville, the civic face. Paris displayed its stern civic authority at the Hôtel de Ville. The great Renaissance facade rose above the square like a monument to order, yet beneath its carved stone, the city's pulse beat hard and uncertain. Messengers hurried across the cobbles with sealed decrees. The murmur of disputes drifted from crowded halls where merchants, magistrates, and petitioners pressed their claims. Outside, vendors mingled with agitators, their shouts echoing off the walls as the Seine's cold wind swept the square. Here, power felt both ceremonial and fragile. Pont Neuf, the city's crossroads. On the Pont Neuf, Paris gathered in all its unruly glory. The wide stone span thrummed with vendors, jugglers, barbers, and thieves. Horses clattered past nobles in bright silks, while gossip, pamphlets, and rumours changed hands as quickly as coins. Beneath the bridge's arches, ferrymen shouted, and river smells rose thick and sour. It was the city's great crossroads, loud, watchful, and alive, where every breath felt charged with possibility and deceit. Place Royale, the mask of power. At the Palais Royal, Paris revealed its polished mask of power and intrigue. Behind its dignified arcades, courtiers traded secrets over wine and whispered conversations. The gardens offered a rare hush, gravel paths, clipped trees, and murmuring fountains. It was elegance draped over tension, beauty concealing the constant maneuvering of those who shaped France's fate. Luxembourg Palace, Marie de Médicis' dream. Queen Marie de Médicis' grandeur stood apart from the city's clamour at the Luxembourg Palace. The palace rose serene and stately, overlooking gardens where ordered paths, statues, and bright parterres softened the air. Noble families strolled among trimmed hedges, their quiet steps masking courtly schemes. Built to remind Paris of Italian sophistication, it remained a monument to royal ambition. Isolated, magnificent, and slightly removed from the city's rougher truths. Place des Vosges, triumph in stone. At Place des Vosges, Paris displayed its triumphs in stone. The circular square framed symmetry itself, polished facades echoing the king's authority, ordered arcades promising stability. Merchants, soldiers, and curious onlookers drifted through the open space, their footsteps softened by the geometric calm around them. It was elegance shaped into certainty, an ordered peace meant to quiet the city's restless spirit. The Tuileries, royal order imposed. At the city's western edge, the Tuileries gardens stretched in ordered rows of trees and gravel paths, offering Parisians a rare sweep of calm. By the late 17th century, Louis XIV and André Le Nôtre had reshaped these gardens into sweeping geometric order. Broad alleys, clipped hedges, and precise parterres drew Parisians into a landscape of royal symmetry, calm, measured, and impeccably arranged. Beyond the gardens stood the Porte de la Conférence, where the city thinned into open ground, and the river breeze carried dust and courtly gossip alike. The daily press, how Parisians lived. Parisians lived densely packed, thousands of families stacked in tall, crowded houses that leaned over narrow streets. The city swelled past 500,000 souls, artisans, clerks, servants, and merchants moving through a daily press of noise and labor. Privacy was rare, and the city's pulse was felt in every stairwell and courtyard. In the Galerie du Palais, booksellers offered fresh pamphlets and forbidden verses, while the haberdasher's stall shimmered with ribbons and fine cloth. The passage buzzed with gossip, bargaining, and the rustle of ambition, Parisian life compressed into a single crowded corridor. A 17th century Parisian pâtissier worked amid warm ovens and the sweet smell of sugar and butter. Tarts, biscuits, and glazed fruits drew crowds to his shop, where nobles and labourers alike paused for small luxuries. His craft offered a brief escape, delicate pleasures in a city of noise and hunger. The poor, Paris's constant shadow. The poor crowded church steps and bridge corners, wrapped in rags against the city's damp winds. Beggars pleaded for coins or crusts, children trailing beside them with hollow eyes. Amid markets and palaces, their presence was constant, a quiet reminder of hunger woven into the daily life of the capital. Winter on the Seine. Winters in 17th century Paris bit harder than today. The Seine often froze solid. Parisians flocked onto the ice with skates, sleds, and makeshift stalls, turning the frozen river into a bustling winter fair. Cold, bright, and briefly carefree, it offered a momentary reprieve from the city's grinding routines. The Architects of Power. Cardinal Richelieu, 1628. In 1628, Louis XIII and Cardinal Richelieu ruled in tense harmony. Richelieu's strategy guided the king through siege and intrigue, his sharp mind and sharper ambition holding the realm together by will alone. Cardinal Mazarin. Cardinal Mazarin governed with calm, deliberate intelligence, steering France through war, rebellion, and uneasy peace. Soft-spoken but resolute, he shaped the young Louis XIV's path toward absolute power. Louis XIV, the Sun King, son of Louis XIII. Louis XIV grew up remembering the unrest that once shook Paris, and he vowed to command the city through grandeur as much as authority. As king, he reshaped the capital with sweeping ambition, clearing old walls to create broad boulevards, carving the Place des Victoires and Place Vendôme into the city's dense heart, and commissioning triumphal arches like the Porte Saint-Martin to glorify royal power. He founded great institutions, strengthened the military, and filled Paris with architects, sculptors, and fountain makers who carried out his vision of classical elegance. Even as Versailles became his courtly son, Paris remained his public stage, transformed, ordered, and illuminated by his will. Under Louis XIV, the city took on a new identity. Disciplined, brilliant, and unmistakably shaped by the king, who intended it to reflect his radiance. The royal family, a constellation of duty. Louis XIV's family gathered around him in a constellation of duty and ambition. The Dauphin bore the burden of inheritance. His brothers were shaped for service and alliance. The royal women, daughters, nieces, and Madame de Maintenon exerted calm, strategic influence within the court. Together, they formed a disciplined dynasty, each member serving the monarchy's greater design. A city transformed. By the century's end, Paris had been fundamentally reshaped. No longer merely medieval and chaotic, it had become a stage for royal power. A city of broad perspectives, calculated grandeur, and imposed order. Yet beneath the geometric gardens and triumphal arches, the old Paris persisted, loud, hungry, and alive with possibility. The tension between these two cities, the royal vision and the unruly reality, would define Paris for centuries to come. Subscribe for more journeys into the past.